face. Need room for these long legs, man. Yo, yo, yo. What is good? Freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, aka the definition, tyrant's bane, all up and through here. And I gotta tell y'all, hardest thing I ever did in my life, well, one of them, was getting the fruck out of California. Ooh-wee. Particularly Los Angeles, man. That was, damn it. It's the wrong time to be, man, god damn it. Fuck. Yeah. One of the best moves I ever made in my life was getting out of Cali, y'all. Was getting out of Cali. Anyway, how y'all doing this morning? Jay with open eyes for. It's snowing hard where you at? What part of, yeah, I know, yeah. That's why I had to get the hell. That's why I left Georgia yesterday. That's why I got the fuck out. Yeah. Because it's snowing where I work right now. But yeah.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
It is Friday, January 10th, 2025. I didn't know. And yeah, man. On my way to the chiropractor so I can get an adjustment. It is cold as hell out here, but at least I'm going to be with my family when it snows. It's going to snow out here as well. So anyway, yeah, Los Angeles. I'm sure you guys are aware of what's going on in Los Angeles right now. There is a raging inferno. Pacific Palisades were wiped out by this fire. Malibu as well, parts of Malibu. And there is just ash and smoke all over the Los Angeles basin, right? I used to live right there in that basin. I damn sure didn't live in Malibu or Pacific Palisades, couldn't afford that shit, you know what I mean? But this shit has been in the making for a couple decades. They have been slowly but surely making Los Angeles uninhabitable. Uninhabitable for a period. You see, in my mind, there are multiple goals here. I don't know if you guys are aware of these 15-minute cities or smart cities as they call them. There is an agenda to build these smart cities all over the world. All over the world. So that's part of Agenda 2030, right? Is to build these smart cities and make everything within that smart city that a person would need within 15 minutes of their home, right? So they really are trying to do that, right? And the auspices is, well, you know, we want to reduce carbon emissions and reduce the carbon footprint. We want to rewild the world. We want to rewild the forest and all that shit. And look, I have no problem with rewilding, but why would you want to rewild, right? And not allow people to enjoy the wild? Why would you want to keep them? Why would you want to bring everything in the world back to nature except for the human being? Why would you want humans to not exist in nature when you say you care about nature? You say that you want the wild to exist, you want the animals to thrive. I have no problem with that, right? And they want to blame the individual human being for the reason of, displacement of wildlife, the extinction of wildlife, the endangerment of wildlife, right? Deforestation, all that type of shit. They want to act like we're at fault for that. Queen Cameron, how you doing? Y'all go check out Queen Cameron. Blessings to you this morning. Y'all, you see, the elite class, the dominant culture, right, that run this world, that run this nation, they want you to believe that you are the problem, right? And if anything, if you want to blame a certain type of individual, you can blame the plant eater, okay? Plant eaters have a lot to do with why we are in the position we're in, all right? A lot of the deforestation, a lot of the lopping down of trees, right, are due to monocropping, right? Because they have to meet the demand of the plant eater, right? It's not good enough to just go out and, harvest from wild trees, right? It's not good enough. Why? Because they're not, if they do that, if they go out and it wouldn't be as available as monocropping would make these things available. So I would say, yeah, the plant eater, yeah. The ones that believe that the food pyramid has to consist of leaves and roots and shit like that, right? Yeah, those are the ones, they might be contributing to the deforestation and the displacement of animals. But they want you to believe that everybody, right? Like, if I'm an individual or I have a family, right? I would not have that many needs, right? I could live, me and my family of 8 could go a year, right, with half a cow. Half a cow will feed my family for a year. And all I would have to do is buy some fruit, get some honey, get some maple syrup, right? Little shit like that. And I'm good to go. Like, we could survive off of that. Berries, fruits, honey, syrup, shit like that. You'll get your antioxidants, you'll get your macros, you'll get your antioxidants, you get the multivitamin, all the vitamins that you would ever need. Get some avocado in there, you'll be taken care of. I had an avocado tree in my backyard, 2 of them. It fruited dozens of avocados each year. And I'm talking about the soft, buttery avocados. Anyway, I digress. You see, these fires, they have been going on for a very long time in Southern California. And when I say these fires, I'm not talking about normal wildfires that are started on accidents, started by nature, because that can happen as well. Certain conditions can create, can start a fire in the wild. Depends on where the sun is. You get the right angle from the sun going through a dewdrop or something like that, and it'll, little shit like that. Yes, and during the dry seasons, you will have more fires. That's just natural, right? These things happen. But the speed at which these fires spread naturally and in the wild, they do not spread nearly as fast as these new fires. These new fires exhibit a behavior of control. Yes, they exhibit a behavior of being controlled. They are being guided, they are being directed. Right? Why do I say that? Well, because the conditions have been created for these things to happen. I want you guys to understand that in California, especially in Los Angeles, right? They have perfected a way of creating the perfect conditions to spread fires far, wide, and fast, much too fast for your house to be saved if your house is targeted. If your houses or your neighborhood is targeted, it's going down. There's no way you're going to save your house. Don't even try. Don't grab your water hose. Don't expect the fire department to come save you. They're not going to do it. Now, I want you guys to understand this as well. The fire hydrants in Malibu and in Pacific Palisades did not work. They were not working. Why is that? Because the pumps that in order these fire hydrants to produce the amount of water needed to get the right amount of pressure, they are electrically powered. Okay, I've worked on these systems. I've worked at pump stations. I've done all that. And for whatever reason, the electricity was not on. The same shit that happened in Hawaii. Yeah. Right? In Hawaii, remember that fire? Destroyed an entire town. And Oprah Winfrey gave $5,000 or some silly shit. And Joe Biden gave everybody $500 a piece. Listen. This is what happened in Malibu and the Pacific Palisades. The pumps for the fire hydrants were not working. Now, I have worked at these pump stations. I've worked at the pump stations in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Pacific Palisades, in those areas. There are redundancies, right? They have redundancies. There are generators, there are inverters, there are UPSs. So that, and with automatic transfer switches tied in. What does that mean? See, this is the key to being a resourceful man such as myself. You have knowledge of these things. You see, you have the pumps that are operated, right? They are operated via a generator at a power plant. All right. The power plant feeds the grid. The grid will take the power to these pump stations. But at the pump stations, they also have generators, backup generators. The generators are tied to an automatic transfer switch. It's not just a generator. There is also a UPS. What is a UPS? A UPS is an uninterrupted power source. The uninterrupted power source consists of a series of batteries that are tied in series to provide the right amount of voltage to an inverter. The inverter converts it from direct current, which batteries give off direct current. Generators give off alternating current, right? So with the generator, you don't need the inverter, but with the UPS, you need an inverter. It goes to the inverter. It inverts it from DC to alternating current, which is what you need to operate these pump stations in 3 phases. So it's a 3-phase power supply. ABC, 1, 2, 3. 3 phases. Those 3 phases operate in tandem in order to operate the motors that push the water through the pumps. So I find it hard to believe, right, that not only did the power to the pumps fail from the grid, that I find it hard to believe that the generator did not kick. Damn, I just ran over some black ice. I'm such a great driver. So I find it hard to believe that not only did the power grid not supply the power to the generators, or no, the pumps, right? The normal, that's called normal power. And then you have the emergency power, which the UPS provides and the generator provides. I find it hard to believe that neither one of those kicked on. Now, the uninterrupted power supply, right? It has enough juice in the batteries to operate for at least 4 hours. That is required by the National Electrical Code. 4 hours, right? And some of them, they kick on after the power drops, maybe about 90 seconds or something like that at the most. I find it hard to believe that all those things failed. Brother Maurice was good. Are you in the trade, brother? And OFC, they had to announce that the LA Kings were supposed to be playing against the Flames. That's funny. Maybe they should change LA Kings to LA Flames. What do you think? I think that's a good idea. The mockery never stops. Yeah. Yeah. Jay said, by the way, does anybody think it's kind of crazy that the East gets slammed with snow while the West gets covered in fire? Maybe it's just a conspiracy theorist in me. Oh, yeah. Listen, we already know that they can direct weather systems. This is a known fact. You guys can go look that shit up. Go check out Dane Wigington. Dane Wigington is not perfect, but when it comes to geoengineering, he's an expert. Brother Maury says, done by design. CBRN network. Help me, familiarize me with the CBRN background. CBRN, what's that? Oh, you do threat assessment. Okay. So, that's what's up, brother. That's what's up. I am into threat assessment myself as a veteran. I understand threat assessments. But look, man, I was actually going to get into private security, but by the time I was interested in doing that, I met somebody. My wife's friend, actually worked for a high-profile private security force, and I could have got hired just like that. I mean, it would have been no problem. But the only issue was, as a journeyman, I was making maybe $100,000 to $110,000 a year, and they wanted to start me off at $50,000 a year. I said, nah, I can't do that. It wasn't paying enough money to start. I wouldn't be getting enough money. I would need at least 100 from you to start. Chemical, biological. Okay, right. My how do I say this? My stepbrother's sister. She was in NBC. She was in NBC in the military when she was in the Army. Oh, TS clearance. Oh, you better be careful with you. You better be careful coming to my channel, brother. You might get in trouble looking at my channel. They might put your ass on a list somewhere. Oh, you were in NBC? Yeah, the reason I say my stepbrother's sister is because he is my stepbrother. But technically he's really not my stepbrother because my mother married his father, who turned out not to really be his father. His father was somebody else. And my stepbrother's mother had got with his real father right before getting with my mother's husband. And my mother's husband raised him as his own. You know, he knew he was born before my stepdad met him, but he didn't find out till he was like 11 and 12 years old that he had his real father. And his real father had a daughter with another woman. And yeah, when I got out the Army, she got out the Army around the same time as me, and my brother got locked up. I was explaining yesterday how reckless I was with the penis. Yeah. So anyway, my brother got locked up, and I was chopping up with his sister, and she was doing all this flirtatious shit, and I went over there one time, and yeah, that I was a savage, y'all. I was a savage. I was just throwing it around. So that's why I had to make it clear it was my stepbrother's sister. Anyway. They're reporting as arson. That's funny because I thought I saw something about the power lines sparking up or some shit. I don't know, man. Listen, it really doesn't matter how the fire started. What matters is they understood that when the fire started, it was going to completely level the town that the fire started in. And why do I say that? Well, like I was saying earlier, they have created conditions for fires to spread very quickly because of what they spray in the sky, because of how they direct the water flow, right? Understand, I keep telling you guys about the water underground, right? Underground water is very, very abundant, but you just have to know how to access it. And the streams that flow in the rivers and streams that flow all over the world would flow consistently, outside of certain parts of the world, where it gets really dry, but you still have underground rivers. You have underground rivers, underground oceans, underground lakes all over the world. You just got to know how to access it. So in certain parts of the world, when it gets really hot and dry, the surface streams and rivers might dry up, but there's still going to be water underground. And it's the same thing in LA. It's everywhere. It's just about access, like I said. But the water that the trees actually need to be, because the trees might sometimes reach that groundwater, but it also is relying on above ground streams and rivers. And when they build dams to control the natural water flow. So they can shut down and they can shut off water flow to a specific area as they see fit. So they do those things all over the country. Like, they build dams to control the water flow. They tell you, oh, well, we want to prevent the flood zones from getting flooded. See, here's the thing with that. If you know it's a flood zone, don't build there. Why build in the flood zone? Why don't build in the flood zone? There is plenty of land to build where you're not going to be in the flood zone. And this overpopulation nonsense is just that. It's nonsense. It's a lie. And so they have fed y'all a line of bullshit about overpopulation, about, we're building the dams to divert the water to prevent floods. That's complete and utter bullshit, because guess what? If it rains hard enough outside of those dams, you're still going to flood, right? The rain, like natural rainfall, does not care about where the dam is. So if an atmospheric river wants to drop a shitload of water on you, all it has to do is go downstream of that dam and dump that water, and you're still going to get flooded, right? It's all about control. Everything they do, everything they tell you they do for your safety, everything they tell you to do to prevent this and that is bullshit. Yes, he who controls the weather will control the world. That's exactly what Lyndon B. Johnson said. And that's what Dane Wigginton, he quotes that all the time. Oh, Brother Maurice, I'm pretty sure I'm already on the list. Yes. Underground water aquifers. They're all over the place. But my well's tied into an underground. That's what's up. Now, do water tables rise and fall? Yes, they do. But the water tables will always be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, when a well dries up, it just means that, you got to wait for that water table to rise back up. Oh yeah, the lies are real. The bottom line is, it's all about control, y'all. Overpopulation, CO2 levels, which are actually dropping right now. CO2 levels are dropping. And there are certain scientists that are concerned that they might be dropping dangerously low. Dangerously low. Because you need CO2 in the air, y'all. CO2 is necessary. Just like nitrogen, all that shit. There are a lot of atmospheric gases that are necessary. You just need a right balance of them. Exactly. Everyone in the world can live in America. Listen, they lie all the time. Unleavened Evans says Operation Popeye is what they called the Vietnam weather. Yeah, exactly. Dog, and that was in the 60s and 70s. They have been controlling the weather since at least World War II. They were doing that. I mean, they were cloud seeding at low, they were doing, low tech shit, but they knew how to cloud seed. They knew how to do all that shit. And listen, electromagnetic fields can help you direct weather systems if that electromagnetic field that you create is large enough to manipulate that weather system. The ionosphere is you can hide when a storm builds, it is ionically, all the ions are being charged in the atmosphere. That's what that is. The lightning, they travel through ions in the atmosphere. Electrically charged ions. That's what you see when you see lightning. You just need the right mixture. You need the right chemistry of things to occur for that lightning, for that storm. And it's all electric. So when you create an electromagnetic field around those systems and you move that electromagnetic field, you can move that weather system. The Abacai says, don't forget the firefighters were arguing on whether not to save the museum, which had links to child trafficking and PDF files. I believe it. I didn't hear about that, but I mean, I'll look into that. Jay Wood Open Eyes 4 says, it's sad they don't teach us none of this in school. Oh, they would be failing if they taught you that in school. That's not part of the agenda. We have to learn for ourselves how to get water from the ground. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. On food. They never want us to be self-sufficient. Absolutely not. And he also says, that's how you know they could put the fires out if they really wanted to. Yeah, I mean, they got an ocean right there, right? Trust me, they are capable of taking the ocean water. They do desalination. So they can use that ocean water to put those fires out. The problem is not necessarily you would need fire immediately. You need water immediately available. That's why those fire hydrants did not work, because of the speed at which these fires spread. And don't forget the smart meters. The smart meters for your house. Those things. Electricity is black magic, right? It's all black magic. That's what we say in the trade. We call it black magic because electrical theory is still just electrical theory. And we can be, I'm an expert at electrical theory, but I'm not an expert at electrical fact. It's still black magic, right? And the reason it's black magic is because Tesla demonstrated that you can get free energy from the air, and you need the ground, right? You need earth, right? You need earth, of course. And if you can find earth and connect it to the ionosphere, you can get free energy. It's just a certain way you have to do it. There was this thing called the Tesla coil, right? Where Tesla was able to demonstrate that you can get free energy. You can power an entire house free of charge, outside of the maintenance of all the conductive components of that system. Yeah, you just all you need to do is, that's all you need to do. It's like the power companies act like they can't charge you for free energy. They can, but what they're charging for is the maintenance of the infrastructure, right? You know what I'm saying? But they don't want you, if they can do it, they don't want you to figure out how you can do it. That's the problem. It's not that they didn't want to use it to provide. They didn't want to, if they could harness that free energy, right, without you being able to understand and learn how to do it yourself, they would do it. But they knew if that information got out, anybody and everyone could get that free energy, and they can maintain their own infrastructure, right? They can maintain their own infrastructure because your power source can be right there at your house. You pay for the material, you install the material, and you maintain the material, right? There would be no power lines. There would be no underground. There wouldn't be no power lines in the air or on the poles. There would be no underground power lines. There would be no need for transformers. You know, all that type of shit. It would be wise to have a generator at your own house and a battery supply at your house. But I mean, all those things you can maintain yourself. That's the problem. They don't want the knowledge out there because you would not need them. The Habakkuk says you now got fires in some Bronx apartments. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yes, Earth and we are magnetic. Exactly. We are. There is an entire electromagnetic field around the Earth that prevents, you know, solar flares from hitting us. Did you know female trees produce fruit? Why did they get rid of the fruit trees? Because they don't want you to be able to go and harvest your own fruit. Go into the forest, harvest your own fruit. They don't want you to do that. They want to mass produce the fruit. 80% of the fruit that is supplied in the country comes from California, right? And Mexico, and other fruit comes from Mexico and other countries. Well, even out here in South Carolina, we wouldn't have a plethora of natural fruit, but we would have more watermelon. You can grow watermelon here. You can grow peaches, apples in the mountains. You know, you could do that. Eat whatever's available to you in your area. Unleavened Evan says, overpopulation, any and all governments are overpopulated. Yes, the government's overpopulated. If the government consists of one government employee, it's overpopulated. Who texted me on my work phone? I ain't got time for your bullshit. Yo, I got the cheapest phone for my work phone now. This shit is cheap as hell. $130 for this phone. And it's good enough. Number 94 says they got in the way, so they made all the trees male trees. Exactly. They don't want you to harvest your own shit. They don't want you to go out and just go out into the wild and harvest anything. They control the food supply, right? They control the power. They control the water supply. And don't be surprised if they figure out how to control the air supply, the oxygen supply. Magic Star Nador says, I like you. Okay, I appreciate that. Frank Me says, I believe in karma, as you should. Because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Brattle87 asks, when did I become homeless? Well, you see, your mama, she stopped walking that stroll for me. So I was not getting the money that I'm used to getting. So, yeah. When your mama go back out in that hostro, I'll get my money back and I can go back and give me a house. So, there you go there. Unleavened Evan says, we have apples in Hendersonville, 30 minutes away. That's what's up. Is it wild apples or? Brother Maurice says it's coming. I believe it. What you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna tell you, Oh yeah, well, the oxygen levels in the atmosphere, oh, they're getting horrible. And then they'll spray some shit in a certain area, and they'll make people choke and die. Uh, and then they'll convince us to get oxygen, wear oxygen tanks, right? And then we're gonna have to buy oxygen from the oxygen supply house. Yeah. And so we're gonna be walking around with oxygen mask on and oxygen tanks, and it's just gonna completely, it's gonna weaken us even more, because we're not gonna be able to exercise. We're not gonna be able to get fit. We're not, I mean, it's just gonna be completely, I can see that. I can see that happening. Not my net says, right, I was saying they are going to start charging. Oh yeah. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Torenosuke Ito says, he laughs. Hey, wait, I ain't seen you in a minute, Ito. That's crazy. We have our own pear tree, and I have a pear tree too. We have a pear tree. And we have a nice garden. That's what's up. Magic Star Nador says, although my English is simple, I think you are straightforward, reasonable, and honest with your words. I appreciate that, Magic Star Nador. Greetings from Morocco. That's what's up. Because of your height and weight, you consume X amount of oxygen. Exactly. Yeah, they're going to figure it out. The oxygen tank thing, that's an extreme, right? But absolutely. I think they tried to do that. And you know what? This whole thing with I got about 5 minutes for my appointment. This whole thing about Justin Trudeau. It's funny how it's funny how governments work. The people start getting fed up, and they strike fear in the heart of the government, and they do one little thing, and it convinces people that they are doing something, right? Like, people in Canada were calling for Justin Trudeau to step down, right? Certain things were happening. I don't know exactly what, because of course they're not going to tell you how effective the people are at getting the government to do shit they want them to do. But imagine if they had that same energy for the entire Parliament of Canada. Imagine if they had that same energy for the entire government of Canada. They could have had the whole goddamn country, the government, stand down. So what they do is they do the little things to make it appear as though your voice is heard, and what you're doing is effective, because they don't want you to know exactly how effective it can be. So they'll do things like make Justin Trudeau step down, and that's going to quiet the people down for a few years, and they're going to continue their control campaign. It's funny how that works. Just like Donald Trump becoming president, or a lot of people are resting on their laurels now. Oh, Trump's president. Let me kick back and just, get lulled back into sleep, right? Until the next time they get riled up again, and then they do something to calm their ass down. It's funny how that works. Unleavened Evans says taxation is a price we pay for failing to build a civilized society. The higher the tax level, the greater the failure. Absolutely. Magic Star says, thank you for your kind and touching words. I am honored to have been able to give you hope. I appreciate that, man. Being 50 years old means you carry a great experience and wisdom, and disability is never the end of the road. That's what's up, man. Well, I'm 45, so, I'm almost there. My net says, but who woke up one day and said they were going to start charging us for living on land? They didn't make it. It's crazy to me. That is the colonialist mentality. The other day I talked about how the idea of imperialism, right? The idea that we have to go to every land possible And we must conquer it and take control. We have to take control of every land we conquer. And the only way we can do that is to build government structures to maintain the control. And that's why we have what we have today. Centuries ago, we were, outside of the UK area, the Caucasus Mountains, outside of that, all the tribes across the entire world were minding their own fucking business. They were okay. They were okay. They had everything they needed where they were at. Did they war with other tribes? Did they war with other tribes for resources in that area and all that shit? Sure. I mean but that's just natural. That's a natural progression. That is how life works. Animals fight over territory. We're animals. We fought over territory. Yes, we did. Did some of us do savage things to others? Yes, but it was focused on a small area. Right? Did they have slaves and shit? Yeah, but or thralls or whatever? Who knows? But this is what the white conquering universe is telling us. They're telling us that everywhere they went, we were savages. The indigenous folks were savages. They were eating each other and all this silly shit. How do we really know that? Right? This is what they're telling us. Nonetheless, if tribes are fighting over territory, that is part of human nature, animal nature. Animals enthrall other animals. You know what I'm saying? Like a wolf pack comes into contact with another wolf pack. May the best wolf pack win. The survivors of the losing wolf pack gets absorbed into the dominant wolf pack. And you might want to say they're slaves now or thralls. That is part of human nature. That is part of animal nature. That's part of the existence of the world, right? Because if you don't have things like that happening, you would have overpopulation and there would not be enough resources. So it's about survival. It's about the survival of the fittest. It sounds like a cliche, but that's reality. So they have convinced you, if not for the white conquering man, right? And if you're offended, if you're white, oh well, because that's just reality, right? You want to paint a picture of savagery and not being, they're savages. But look at what the Europeans did. They called the indigenous folks savages, and they went and raped and pillaged their land and wiped out much of the population of these indigenous tribes, enslaved the others, right? Forced their silly religion on people and all this other shit. Forced their fairy tales and all this, that. And no offense to to those Christians that actually believe in Christianity and believe in what they believe in, but these conquerors and colonialists were using it as tools of control and trying to convince these people that they were living a pagan lifestyle and, you're savages. No, who's the real savage? These people, and they just so happen to be white. It's just a reality. These people went all over the world, created chaos and destruction, stole land that did not belong to anybody, laid claim to everything, laid waste to things that they found offensive. But they want to convince you that their victims were savages. And so, in order to maintain a level of control, they have to do things like they're doing to this very day. Use propaganda to lie and push bullshit. Use force to get us to pay taxes. Create all these laws and all this, create a court system to keep you in a state of fear of rising up. Yeah. This is the reality. This is the reality. And look, my grandmother was white. So, I know the reality. Magic Star says his name is Muhammad. That's what's up. I am where? What is that, Magic Star? B Cherry says, I'm from Pasadena, Altadena. Oh, yeah. Pasadena, Altadena got hit, too. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, the real savages are the ones that cut off the power to those pumps. The real savages are the ones that sprayed that bullshit in the air and coated all the trees with these particulates that are highly flammable. Those are the savages. Just because they do it in a sophisticated way does not mean that they're not savages. Jay, he says he's been planning to get trees. That's what's up, man. Frank Me says we fight wars in the name of religion. Absolutely. Joker Smith says, look at what Africa did and what the Asians did. What about it? The Bible was in Africa first? Okay. What did the Africans and the Asians do? It was Democrats. I love when people, I explain what the Europeans did. I explain what they did. But no, you have yet to tell me what the Africans did. What they do? If you're talking about, okay, so did the Moors do the same thing in Europe? Yeah. But guess what? The Moors were just doing what the Europeans were doing. Yeah, he's probably a troll. So the Moors, they did what, they were, so the Moors, they were formed by being rejected by the Africans and the Europeans, right? And it's very complicated how that happened. So they rose, they built their strength and they started conquering parts of Europe. But that was just because of what was done to them. And what was done to Africa was already being ravaged by the European by then. 11 Evans says, war is when government tells you who the enemy is. Revolution is when you decide that for yourself. Facts. Benjamin Franklin, but Ben, since every overthrown government is replaced with. Yep. Oh, Marcy T, how you doing? Much love to you, Queen Marcy T. It's good to see you in here. Y'all go check out Marcy T's channel. She got a channel as well. 11 Evans says, would you rather evolve than revolve? Yes. So here, and here's a lot of issues I have with some of these so-called revolutionaries, right? Is that they want to overthrow the government so that they can control. If you want to take down government only to control what's left, you are just as bad as the government you overthrew. No, the idea in my mind is to demolish the government structure and everybody going about their business. No one seeks to seek power or control over anybody else. They just go, listen, dismantle the government structure and then go mind your own business. Simple as that. It's better when you mind your own business. When you mind your own business, you get a lot of shit done for yourself. Yeah. Magic Star says, dear brother, I'm 50 years old, disabled Moroccan, and I am unable to move. I have 4 children and I am in need of assistance. Yeah. Anyway, 11 Evans says every overthrown government is replaced with another tyranny. Exactly. That's revolution. I'm not revolution. Yeah, you're right. You know, yeah, you don't want to overthrow a government just to administer your own form of tyranny. That's not going to help. J1994 says evolution before revolution or else is the same problem. Exactly. But see, there's always going to be someone who's going to try to rise up and take control. You just have to swat that shit down as soon as it rises up. You have to be very vigilant because there are those out there with slick tongues that will try to manipulate. They will go and whisper sweet nothings in everybody's ear, like we should do this, we should do that. Next thing you know, they get all these people on their side. Now they have the power, they have the numbers. No, you have to swat that down, right? As soon as you see the red flags, you swat that shit down. Joker Smith says, you're explaining what a democracy is. That exactly why America, what's the democracy? No, that's not a democracy. What are you talking about? Where your rights cannot be taken away, and that's why democracies are trying to change it. Democrats. No, what I'm saying is not democracy. Democracy is about authoritarianism and control of the majority. Majority rules. That's democracy. I do not believe in majority rules. I don't believe in anybody ruling. Nobody should rule. No rulers. Anarchy. Anarchy is what I believe in. What I'm talking about is anarchy. When I say the idea should be to dismantle government and everybody go mind their own fucking business, that's anarchy. That's not motherfucking democracy. A democracy when power is given to the people based on what they choose. No, that's not what are you talking about. Democracy literally means majority rules. That's democracy. It's not power given to the people. When you have democracy, power is given to the people that are in the majority. And the people that are in the minority are then being ruled over by the majority. That is democracy. That is not power to the people. Power to the people means that every individual has power over themselves in their own lives and no one else. Can there be leaders and all that type? Yes, there can be leaders. Leaders are chosen by the people, though, if they so choose. Leaders guide, and they lead by example. They don't control or rule or boss people around. What you're talking about is not democracy. Democracy literally means majority rules. Oh yeah, y'all sub to Jay with open eyes for as well. If one government is power is vested into the people or state, depending on how the government wants to give it. Joker Smith, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. You're talking about vested in the people or the state, depending on how the government wants. That's the shit we already have. 11 Evans says, if we think of freedom as an opportunity to do what is right, do we learn that abundance, ethics, and freedom are interwoven and know how to be abundantly free? Freedom always comes first. Freedom always comes first. And there is abundance and freedom, because when everybody is free of this government power structure, you'll see how abundant life is. All you got to do is go and find it. And, you're going to come across danger. You're going to come across uncertainty. You're going to come across uncomfortability. And ultimately, you'll have less outside influence over your life. But you're going to have to protect that. You're going to have to defend it. You're going to have to be well equipped. Most people will not survive freedom. Y'all understand that? Joker Smith says, in Lyndon B. Johnson said he was going to have y'all voting Democrats. Who's y'all? Y'all voted for a democracy that y'all are getting right now. Joker Smith, you must be new to my channel. You must think I'm a voter. You must think I'm a statist. No. Y'all, you got the right one, buddy. The reason why we have these structures is because just like God put down for rule in a moral compass. Okay. Yeah. You're going to have to trust people to be righteous enough. But if you have a brain, you know that most people don't choose to be right. Joker Smith, you're just arguing for anarchy and freedom. I don't understand I don't understand what you're talking about. You're talking, I don't know what you're saying. Jay says, in a democracy, you only have power if you're part of the majority, and if you are not, your life is governed by the majority. Exactly. I don't know what Joker must think that I'm a Democrat. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Is God's law or man's law? God could be many things. God could be nature. God could be the universe. God could be energy. God could be in you. Magic Star says, the good bless you. And a lot of people rather live in man's law. Exactly. And people purport to know what God's law is. And they write it in a book. And then they present it to you. And you're supposed to follow that. But a man wrote it down. And you're supposed to trust that man heard it from God, right? Interesting. Anyway, let me get up in this appointment so that I can get on with my day. It's been real, y'all. I will holler at y'all later. Oh, and the reason that the insurance company, they dropped fire protection for these homes is simply because they understand that there's going to come a day where in Los Angeles, that dry ass dust bowl, not even just Los Angeles, like many parts of Southern California, fires are going to wipe them out. I mean, it's just good business sense. It's good business sense. So that shows you how, I don't want to say that insurance companies aren't necessary, but how it should work is every year, this is in my mind, every year you do not have an incident where you need to use your insurance, or every so many years, you get your money back. You get your money back. 1 year, you pay up for 1 year. If you don't have anything going on, if you don't have you don't need to use your insurance, get your money back. But if you do need to use it, then it resets and you pay until that year is up and you get your money back, or until you need to use it and you keep paying. I feel like that's less scammy than what they're doing now. Yes, unlimited peace, love, and anarchy, y'all. Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean when you say fraud scammer. I know what you mean, Cedric. Anyway, much love. Like, share, subscribe, and keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.